Neither Ralph de Wolverton, owner of the original manor in the 1300s, nor his 17th century successor, John Dingley, who built the present house, could have forecast that for a weekend in September 1999, the grounds of picturesque Wolverton Manor will be transformed into a backdrop of colourful flowers and plants, craft skills and water displays in the moat. Exhibitors from far and wide have come from garden centres, nurseries, horticultural societies and humble cottage gardens to create this spectacle and to fill over 90 stalls with garden goodies which seem to spill over onto the grass and fill the marquees and the barn with a sense of the countryside. Now, Lee, you are looking after one of the water features here.
That's right.
What sort of a response have you had from the public?
It's been very good this morning, yes, and running into this afternoon.
You seem to do everything, don't you? Fish and pond life and,
that's right, yeah.
And flowers?
Yeah, the flowers, the shrubs, yeah, anything really to do with water gardens, and now really extending into the gardens as well. So I'm trying to get an all-round thing. And
what's been the most popular selling range today?
Well, believe it or not, something as simple as heathers so far. So, yeah, that's been today's bestseller, but who knows in the next 2 days.
So would you say people on the Isle of Wight are really into ponds?
I think so, yeah. There's been a big increase in the last 2 years, so we've done very well. It's been moving on more that way. Well, thankfully, the television programmes that have been featuring lots of water gardens and water features.
Does anyone want an unusual barbecue accessory?
Chimney is an ancient cooking stove or form of heating. They come from Mexico, a place called Guadalajara. We import them from there. They're used for cooking meats, vegetables, skewered types and general heating. We obviously use them in the garden, but over in Mexico they are their sole form of heating and eating, if you like to call it.
And have you had a good interest from people on the Isle of Wight for these chimeneas?
Yes, people on the island are really interested in them. Other than like your garden ornaments that you have that haven't got a function, you can actually use them as well as them being ornamental.
Do you think they're going to take over from the ordinary Barbie?
In some ways, yes. In a retro respect, a lot of people are interested in them because of the style and where they come from. They're very sort of original orientated. They're not like a stainless steel with the tongs and everything else. They're sort of like a down-to-earth, nitty-gritty kind of barbecue.
Well, Mark, these have got very intricate patterns on them, haven't they?
Oh yes, the ones you see with the actual leafy pattern on, they're called the grape tibor. The reason they're called the tibor is because the mouth on it is shaped like a shark's mouth. That's a Mexican origin.
They're very, very wonderful patterns and somewhat menacing, aren't they, when you see them facing you with the mouth facing you?
Yeah, at a first glance, they're a fiery sort of object. A lot of people are asking what they're actually used for and where they actually come from. I mean, they're completely different to a lot of the things you'd see in garden centres over here. I think that's why they're generating so much interest.
So you reckon, Mark, that these things are going to be popular on the Isle of Wight and we're going to see these quite frequently?
Hopefully, yes. I mean, obviously we come from the mainland and they're generating a lot of interest there. There's not a lot of places that actually do them, so we've brought them over here, so hopefully the islanders can enjoy them too.
This is what you could call a reflective display. Now, Guido, these rather nice mirrors, what are they connected with?
Well, it's originally, we had a lot of little spherical sort of rose quartz crystals, and so it's to do with the heart, as it's a love stone, so we thought we'd incorporate them into a heart-shaped mirror, and really we had a lot of crystals and a lot of wood, and the way they come together.
And do you actually design these yourself?
Yeah, we come up with all the designs ourselves, and sort of don't really look at anything else apart from so what comes out of us naturally in a way. It's just sort of inspiration from ourselves and from the actual material.
Because they're not really things you can buy in any everyday shop, are they?
No, that's why we actually make them, because you can't. It's not the sort of stuff that you can buy off the shelf. So it's stuff myself and my girlfriend both like, and so we can't buy it anywhere. So we decided to start making it.
So did the girlfriend have the ideas for the heart-shaped mirrors?
That sort of just came about between the two of us really. It was like a joint decision. We sort of bounce ideas off each other, and then sort of it comes about that way really.
Well, John from Sandown, I see you've been buying things at the show. You're just about to have a look at these rather nice flowers on this stall, aren't you?
We are, yes. We're thinking about some of the winter pansies. Now the winter's on this way, and gets a bit more colour in the garden.
And have you got a lot out of this show? Have you found it interesting?
Oh yes, very nice. I mean, we've come all the way from Sandown over here, and it's thoroughly enjoyable. Very nice indeed.
You're not an islander, though, are you?
No,
with that accent.
No. I'm from Birmingham, but I'll keep that quiet.
And you've got a nice garden at home. And
yes.
What stage are you at the moment at home with your garden?
Well, we're trimming it up now. Cleaning it out areas where the flowers have died and that now, and as we say, we're going to replace them now with the winter flowers and that, because we do like colour, and I think pansy's about a really good weather flower, so that's it. That's what we're after.
Now, this is a magnificent display, isn't it?
Oh, beautiful, absolutely wonderful.
So if there are more country fairs like this, will you attend them?
I certainly will. I'll thoroughly enjoy it.
No country garden show is complete without at least one spinning wheel. Now, Sue Stark, you're here representing, I believe, the Guild of Spinners on the Isle of Wight.
Yes, that's right. The Guild of Weavers, Spinners and Dyers.
That's a long name for quite a famous organisation on the island. And there are several more of you inside the barn, aren't there?
Yes, and we'll be here tomorrow.
What sort of materials are you using?
Sheep's fleece today, a number of different types of sheep, different breeds, mostly from the Isle of Wight. They're bred here, so they're local sheep.
No difficulty in getting the sheep pelts?
No, the sheep fleece, because at the moment there's no market commercially for the fleece, and so we can get hold of them very easily.
Right.
Offered them.
And what's your sort of rate of production?
Very, very slow. You can do maybe 2 ounces in an afternoon if you're really fast.
That's not a lot, is it?
That's not a lot. When you think that a jumper will
Yes.
take 30 ounces, a big jumper, something like that.
Tell us something about the technique.
Well, the wheel, this sort of wheel is an Ashford wheel. It comes as a flat pack from New Zealand, and you put it together.
Have we got any production in this country of spinning wheels?
Yes, there are lots of people, specialist people, who do beautiful ones, some that will fold up flat and they can go into a car very much easier.
So why go abroad?
Because this is the standard basic,
I see.
as cheap as any that will come.
I see.
Well, when I bought mine it was.
And so how do you introduce the
Right, the wheel spins, as it spins, it puts spin into the fleece, which you pull out, and then you allow it to spin onto the bobbin,
This
which
looks
is
like
separate.
looks like a mixture of black and white.
No, this is just a Jacob's fleece.
Is it? What does that
and
mean?
this is how it comes out. That this is what the sheep looks like.
I see.
Jacob's sheep are a mixture of black, dark brown, and white, and some have more white than others.
Right.
But it tends to get muddled up when you card it. In other words, when you sort of line up the fibres so they will spin easily.
So you have to keep this wheel going with your foot
You keep the wheel going with your foot, yes, all the time.
and get ankle ache quite a lot.
If you go fast, yes. But at a gentle rate, then it's okay. You can keep going for a long time.
So what are you actually making at the moment? I mean, you're spinning the
I'm spinning
fleece at
the
the moment.
fleece and making a single ply
Right.
strand.
Yes.
Then I should ply it together. Any knitters will know. You ply it and you make a 2-ply wool that you can then actually use. Spinning, we don't make 3-ply, 4-ply. If you want a thicker wool, you spin it thicker in the first place.
I could have lingered in the farmer's tent all afternoon. We're outside the farmer's tent now, and you represent one of the farmers with this marvellous selection of sweet things like cakes and sweet pickles and jams, just up my street. How do you manage to produce such an array of goods?
Well, with the help of the family, daughter and daughter-in-law, basically we produce and make our own homemade ice cream, which we did from the last 10 years or so when the milk quotas came in, and that probably saved the day in that sense. And now with farming being so difficult, we are supporting the farmers' markets on the island, and with cakes and chutneys and pickles that the family make, as well as our ice cream, we're able to usually provide quite a nice table, which I think is appreciated.
So you're diversifying your products, but you're still very successful.
Well, yes, we've certainly diversified, and I think without it we would have probably had a job to survive, yes.
You're actually an Isle of Wight family, aren't you?
Yes, I was born in Godsill, and then I've lived in Chile for the last 30 to 40 years. So yes, I'm an Isle of Wighter, yes.
Have you got a sweet tooth yourself?
Yes, I have. They say I've got sort of putting on a bit of weight here as well. They blame the ice cream, but yes, I've got a sweet tooth. And
what about this country fair? Do you find it very useful to be able to exhibit here?
Yes, we do. We've done several this summer, and certainly this one with the emphasis on senior citizens, it's good to support it. And we do get a feedback from these places. We've got our own farm shop, and so we get a feedback afterwards, which is nice.
This is an example of fine craftsmanship using original and quite primitive. Paul, you're a Windsor chair maker.
That's correct, yes.
Apparently, very primitive tools you're using.
Yes, this pole lathe dates back to probably Roman times. Making Windsor chairs like this goes back to about 1670 when Windsor chairs first appeared. Before that, it would have been ladder-back chairs, and they would have been made in exactly the same way.
And is there a patent on the name Windsor chairs?
That's a awkward question. That Windsor chair, really, there's no one knows why they called it. In all probability, it was because they were made in and around the Thames Valley area of High Wycombe, and then they would have probably been taken to Windsor, then shipped down the Thames to London. Hence, you'd say my chair came from Windsor. That's probably how it got its name.
With all this intricate work that you're doing, your production can't be very great in a year, is it?
I probably do about 80 to 90 chairs a year, roughly. All depends on the design. I've got 10 different designer chairs. Obviously, dining chairs are quicker to make than the larger rocking chairs or the double buttons.
Do you work from a particular pattern, or do you improvise?
As much as you can work from a pattern. I mean, all Windsor chairs have been made, I can say, over the centuries. All I've done is just see a design I like, and I've taken a photograph of it and copied it and made my own design of it as such. But there's no actual patent as such.
And what about the finishing, the varnishing and the polishing?
I like to use more modern methods. Originally, if a country chair maker made them, he would have just dipped them in a tank of something like tartar or something like that with some Van Dyke crystals. I tend to use a stain and then acrylic sealer and then a wax polish.
Well, thank you very much for showing me that. Peter Wright, RSVP organiser. What exactly is RSVP?
Well, I think we must be the only organisation in the British Isles where you're asked to start work at the age of 50, albeit in a voluntary capacity. We're all retired people or people in their 50s who have been forced into either early retirement or have been made redundant. But we have all got lifelong skills that we've picked up through the years that we use for the benefit of the less fortunate in the community.
And your skills in this occasion are to organise this garden festival?
In this particular instance, yes. I've never ever done it before. This is the first off for me. It's, even at my age, it's still one of life's learning curves.
Well, how's it gone, this organisation, for this quite important festival on the Isle of Wight?
Well, it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's been very successful. The weather's helped. The exhibitors and the volunteers have all rallied round, and they've given me maximum support to make it successful.
How many volunteers have you got?
Well, on the island we've got 193 volunteers, but helping over the 2 days will be about 60 altogether.
And if you had a chance to do another garden festival, would you do it?
Would you come and ask me on Monday?
Of course I will.
But when I've got over this one and we've had a dish rinsing session to find out all the problems and the pitfalls, and I've had a holiday, I think we probably will do it again.
Well, Rob Hardy, you're the owner of this marvellous cottage garden display. What attracts you to cottage garden flowers more than others?
It was originally the demand that was being created. We started 12 years ago doing car boot sales, and my wife has always had an interest in perennials anyway, along with my parents and both her parents as well. And there seemed to be a demand. And in those days, 10 years, 12 years ago, there was a very limited range. And what's happened now is there's a lot of the old varieties have been reintroduced and into commercial propagation as well.
There's something romantic about cottage gardens, isn't there, that appeals to everybody?
We've all got memories of our grandparents' garden, haven't we?
I think that's what it is, yes. But you're being very modest because you've won Chelsea shows, haven't you?
Yes, my wife is not only a good grower, she's also very good artistically in putting displays together. And she's had 6 consecutive gold medals at Chelsea now.
Well, that's marvellous.
So,
and will you come back and exhibit here again if there's another show?
Oh, certainly will do. We came over to Osborne House at the beginning of the year, and the reception we had on the island was amazing. There were so few people seemed to leave the island, and therefore they weren't coming across to find the plants, so therefore we decided to bring the plants over to the island.
And you have the satisfaction when you go around the island of seeing your own plants growing in these marvellous cottage gardens.
Oh, there's some marvellous gardens over here, and there's some marvellous gardeners. A lot of knowledge.
Excellent. And this delightful lady summed it all up at the cottage garden stall, where we leave the Wolverton Manor Country Garden Show for this year. Border dahlias, sedum, verbena, anemones, Montbretia. What a lovely array of cottage garden plants in this particular stall. Gigi from Cowes, you've just been buying something, haven't you?
Yes, I have, I'm afraid. Always spending money.
Always spending money, but what better can you spend them on than these lovely cottage garden flowers? What have you bought?
Well, I bought an autumn dahlia, which will flower beautiful golden yellow, and the campanula, and some very exotic named flowers. I can't remember, but I just love the look of them.
And you've obviously got a very nice garden in Cowes.
Yes, I think so. Yes, I just love gardening, so.
And so what have you got out of this garden show? You've been to other exhibits as well?
Yes, I got other plants from other stands to make a winter basket, Panacea, and another foliage. Again, I mean, names to me never mean much, but just it's just a splash of colour for me.
And where did you get the idea, first of all, of coming to this stall? You've seen them before?
Yes, at
Osborne House.
Osborne House, that's right. I bought some plant totally unusual, things we don't find on the island, and I recognized straight away.
And so you came back to get some more?
That's right, yes.